He said this was made for him. 3 weeks into Marine Corps boot camp, it's been 3 weeks and 2 days to be exact. My son wrote me his first letter. I also this week got the letter from the DI, which was really great because I could see my son's handwriting on the envelope. It was great to kind of hear from the people he's going to be working with this whole time. So that was great. But no, I actually got his first personal letter. Um, and no matter what minor discomfort he has, no matter how much waiting he's been going through, um, he said everything is worth it. And his words, he said, this was made for him. I go to the mailbox every day just hoping. And y'all, I held that paper and I just cried. So I've been gone from this show for far too long. And I owe you guys a little explanation. So my Marine, obviously in the boot camp, and that's still an adjustment for me. And then my life is still lifing. I still have 5 kids at home, and now today I'm sending my babies to Colorado. The 2 oldest are just going to be there for about a week or so, but my 16-year-old is actually going to stay and do work potato harvest with my dad. If you guys are from Colorado, if you know the San Luis Valley at all, you're like, holy shit, I know what potato harvest is. Um, so yeah, I'm here with the 2 littles, and today the house got very quiet, but it has been just an emotional, crazy space of just trying to figure out who I am when, like, it literally feels like all my kids are leaving the nest at the same time. It's like this feeling of I'm gutted and I'm proud, and both of those things are completely true. That's where I've been. And I slowly kind of want to get back to finding myself and getting back in the arena. um and I guess I could say, like I've always told you guys, if you haven't listened to my Listen Bitch podcast, it kind of sums up a lot of this, of just like life isn't going to pause, but at the same time, like first and foremost, I'm a mom and I'm in the mom arena right now. And when my kids need me more, that's where I am. And lately it has been my kids. My kids have needed me for a myriad of reasons. You guys know I'm going to talk about Super Patch. If you want your body working with you instead of against you, you go to brandonlynette.superpatch.com. This is frequency technology, nothing to swallow, nothing injected, no ingredients, zero ingredients, but it will rock your world and it will change your life. Just go check it out, okay? Um, check it out. uh, again, I appreciate your guys' patience. I appreciate your patience with the consistency of this show. It's like I feel like I've been fighting upstream to have the show in the first place. Um, but just, getting that peace of mind um from my son, really, I think that has helped a lot. And that just happened a couple days ago. Getting the peace of mind that my 16-year-old is going to get to go have this great experience with my family, to be around my dad and my sister. I just feel like this is really great. But like, this is, there's peace I've been asking God for since, especially my Marine walked away from me 3 weeks ago. Um, I knew that I know I'm not going to get confirmation that it's going to be easy for him. I really just wanted confirmation that he knew what he walked into and that he was supposed to be there. And like, if you know my son, I've said it before on the show, he's definitely made for this. And so having all of that validated and verified in his own words of just like, no matter what the suffering is. And, I have a cousin who went through the same experience as him, went to the Marines and went into infantry, wanted to be a machine gunner. And it's a violent job. It's violent. It's crazy. And so just to know that what's coming could be so much worse, I don't have to feel afraid anymore just because of, my son's validation and God's hand in just showing me everything's working out the way that it's supposed to. I love this. So it took me 3 weeks to get that. And don't think I'm not still going to the mailbox every single day hoping that there's something there, because I'm watching the countdown. I am simultaneously like the proudest I've ever been of anything in my life and like the most gutted I've been in a very long time. And so this is like, holding that truth. I'm not even going to try to make sense of all of the things together, it's just like I'm in a new era of becoming too. Like I went from a mom of 6 to last year, just having 4 kids at home, and now I'm pretty much like looking at just 2 babies at home, and it just seems fast and sudden, and it's overwhelming, to be honest. It's overwhelming, and I feel like half of me is just missing. So I want to put those pieces together. But saying goodbye to those kids, like I'm super excited. I'm super excited for the experience he's going to have. Um but it's extra quiet, you know. Um I know probably like some people are like it's so dramatic, and I know my husband is just like another one down. Like, I think dads do the countdown of when the kids leave the nest, and moms it's just a little different. So, I'm still in it. We're homeschooling. I'm in the present, and it just feels like my kids are everywhere that I can't reach them. Sitting in a house that's a very different kind of quiet. I'll just be figuring out who I am over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully that gives me some footing and foundation to be a lot more consistent for you guys on this show. Holding the space of like, y'all, I am not okay. I am not okay, but also I'm okay. And I'm being forced to just trust God completely and just a mom and swallowing all the truth. And that's why I've been quiet. I owe you guys another apology here on the show because I said last week, and I even put this in a post. Um, I said guns are illegal in Chicago on my show like 100 times. I mean, I've said it more than once. And here's the deal, it's not true. That is not a true statement. And I love that, especially the liberals are the first to point that out, that I'm liar, liar, pants on fire. Um, I knew better. I know better. The stuff that I talk about, you guys, I fact check. I did not fact check myself. And this matters to me because the whole show is built on that premise. And the facts will always back the truth, and the truth is the point. That's what we're here for. Chicago does not have a ban on guns anymore. They do have a significant registration and documentation requirement. You do have to go through a process. You have to have a FOID card, which is the firearm owner's identification card issued by the state. You have to pass the background checks. You have to register your guns within the city, which is all to say that the people doing the shooting in Chicago are absolutely not going through any of that. Nobody's registering the gun they're using to shoot someone at 3 a.m. The documentation requirements mean nothing to a criminal with a stolen weapon or a street gun with a serial number filed off, but the correct framing is heavily regulated and routinely circumvented, not illegal. Okay. I've lived here in Michigan, right across the lake from Chicago, really, for 17 years. And when it mattered to me, that was the law. Guns were illegal in Chicago. You can't drive through Chicago with your guns. Like, there was just a whole thing. And it kind of locked that in. Well, the laws changed, and I never updated my own understanding of them. So that's on me. I said it wrong, and I'm going to correct it here on record, which I want you guys to understand when. And please, if you guys know that there is something that is not fact checked here, that I don't just say is my opinion or is a belief, because I do wear a tinfoil hat. There's a lot of things that I believe that I can't prove, but I know, much like Fauci ouchie, right? We knew that. I knew that shit. I told you guys this a long time ago. I knew this. That's why I said no. I knew it, but I couldn't prove it, and now it can be proven. So some things I am going to say that maybe don't match, the correct narrative or the truth that's available to us, but always please feel free to call me out. And with that, speaking of Chicago, let's do a little update. I checked the last 6 days. And listen here, like maybe this is worth celebrating. 9 people have been shot, but only 1 is dead. So I think that's the least amount of people that have died since I started talking about them on the show. This is black on black crime in a city that Black Lives Matter has turned its back on because there is no white perpetrator to monetize and no national narrative to build off the deaths of the people who look like the people pulling the trigger. That's it. And you guys, listen, I had a case come across my eyes, and I will be watching this. I will be watching this because I'm outraged. Everybody should be outraged. What I've seen that's publicly released so far, we have Keon Jaden Rundell, this 17-year-old from DeLand, Florida. DeLand, I don't know how you pronounce it. He's been arrested and charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder in the deaths of Dustin Rose, 19, Samson Campbell, 18. Authorities said he knew both victims. The truth is they are lifelong childhood friends. He was arrested in Manatee County after a warrant was issued. Here's the thing. The shooter, black. The two boys that are dead were white. And I am so tired of the Black Lives Matter race baiting. I am tired of this. I am tired of this. White lives matter, but not if there's no way to monetize it, right? We're not going to talk about that. Dustin Rose, 19, a Citadel cadet and South Carolina National Guard member, drove to DeLand to be with his best friend, Samson Campbell, after Campbell returned home to spread the ashes of the family's dog of 8 years. Okay? That night, both young men were shot multiple times and left dead in an industrial lot. One of their mothers found their bodies. So, marshals got him. 2 young men lose their lives. One mother made the unimaginable discovery of finding her own son and his best friend dead. You guys, I looked for it today. Where is the national outrage? Truly. Where are the celebrities? Where are the nonstop headlines? Where are the marches? Where are the viral hashtags? Where are the GoFundMes? Every victim deserves justice. Every family deserves compassion. Every life deserves the same attention, regardless of race or whether the story fits a preferred narrative. So I'm saying today, for you guys, I know you're the kind of people that are believers in the power of prayer. So I'm saying pray for the Rose and the Campbell families. No parent should ever have to experience what one of these mothers did. And these boys' names deserve to be remembered. And I really, I just text my husband. I said, it's really hard for me not to speak how I speak every day on this show. I try to respect that. I know a lot of the way I talk, I'm not sorry for it. God knows my heart, and he called me to this, y'all. But I know some of the way I talk could be super abrasive, and I don't want to, I don't want that to be the thing that stops you from helping to use your voice and to support the show and to be able to share the messages that you get from here. But at the same time, I really just want to say, fuck you to the race baiting, money chasing assholes. Right? So we have this kid, Nolan Wells, who's dead. Reports indicate that there's no foul play, and investigators have said the cause of death is still under investigation, but it's everywhere. The kid looked like he died from drowning. That was the initial deal. There weren't a bunch of bullets in his body, okay? High profile names, they step up. What about now? Like they don't care when black guys kill black guys. They don't care when black guys kill white guys. The only time these people care is if a white man is involved as the perp. And like, I can see through the scam. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. And all of you guys need to stop enabling these idiots. Like the BLM movement, stop enabling them. If you really care about Black Lives Matter, put your money where your mouth is and tell me who's showing up. Who's showing up for the kid that got shot in Chicago? Who showed up for the 9 people that had bullets in them in Chicago? Who showed up for these boys? Why does some white girl in a small town care more about what y'all are doing to get a handle on blacks killing blacks? You should be ashamed of yourself and embarrassed thoroughly. And this is no time for soft Christians either. Stop thinking that your silence is compassion. It's not. It's complicit. It's complicit. Another case that makes me, like, I feel anger because where is Black Lives Matter to protect this dad? We've got an Ohio dad who lures a child rapist on TikTok and then he shoots him. Only mistake I see is that the guy that got shot walked away. I'm saying drop Malik's charges right now. And where are his lawyers? Where's everyone signaling for him? He did what any American dad would do. Drop his charges. He did exactly what this messed up system can't. So I'm going to watch this case. I expect you to share this case out. I want you to speak it out. You can find it on my Facebook profile. Share it directly from there. Speak up for Malik. This is what happened. Grove City. Malik Chandler posed as his 11-year-old daughter on TikTok to lure this guy, Diego. We'll call him Diego. Perv loser. He lured him back to their home and shot him after learning the man had already sexually assaulted his daughter. already sexually assaulted him and came back for more. The girl's mother discovered a video on their daughter's phone showing Montoya assaulting her at the family's Grove City home. The next day, Chandler messaged the messaged the pedophile while pretending to be the daughter on TikTok and got him to return to the apartment. And Chandler told police he planned on only beating him up. That was his job, which is fair. You tell me that any cop is going to walk up on this guy beating up a rapist for an 11-year-old daughter. That's it. He was going to beat him up. He was going to hold him there, and he was going to call the cops. When the man arrives, he reached into his pocket. Chandler believed he was going for a gun because he'd seen this guy flashing guns on TikTok videos. Chandler grabbed his own gun from the counter and opened fire. He hit him with 2 gunshot wounds. Reports say 3 shots were fired. This dude ran, but he was found by police sitting in a chair with the wounds. He was transported, and he survived. That is it's terrible in this country that I have to be sad that this guy died. But if you mess with a kid, I don't think you deserve to breathe. Brandon, that's not a very Christian thing to say. I'll face God with that line in the sand, and he knows my heart, and he knows my beliefs. And I'll say it again. If you're going to murder someone, you don't deserve to breathe air. If you're going to touch kids, you don't deserve to breathe air. You don't. This guy already was guilty of doing this. Already guilty of this. So this guy gets indicted on 5 counts of pandering, sexually orientated material, 2 counts of rape, and 1 count of obstruction of official business. Prosecutors said several videos on his phone showed abuse of children, including infant and toddler. At his arraignment, he received a $20,000 recognizance bond plus a $50,000 cash bond with orders of no contact with the victim or her family and a ban on internet use except for work purposes. Y'all want to know how much the dad's bond is? $100,000. But this guy's free to go as long as he stays off the internet. What? What? And we wonder why people are taking this into their own hands. I will not let go of this. A father finds out a predator is after his 11-year-old daughter, lures him in, shoots him, he's in jail, the predator is there, and the father has a higher bond. What? This is the problem. And no Black Lives Matter showed up. Like, where the hell is Tyler Perry for this guy? Where's Colin Kaepernick? Where's Ben Crump? Where's the press conference? Where's the National Action Network headquarters? Where are these people? Tell me. Why doesn't it matter now? Why are we not protecting a dad for doing the right thing? Why is it that I've got more white men standing up for this dad than those of his own race? Because that's it. A black child predator at the hands of a black father protecting a black daughter. Ooh, doesn't fit the machine's product. Doesn't fit the money-making narrative. They need a white face. That's it. The machine needs a narrative that generates donations and speaking fees and cable news segments. A father protecting his daughter doesn't pay anyone's mortgage. I'm exhausted of this story. I'm exhausted because how many times am I going to tell it on the show? I mean, I'm not going to stop. I just, I need a nap or something. I am exhausted. Another thing on my radar, Perez Hilton, Joe Felz, and the spiritual war that is happening, whether you want to see it or not. Joe was 40 years old. I just started following him maybe a year ago. He's a creator. He documented van life. A lot of things I loved and some things I didn't, but he was very honest. He had these very old Bibles, some of the oldest Bibles available, and he was scanning those and uploading them for people. And I always have been nervous about this, but he had a following of people who were just watching him figure out what he believed. Okay. His girlfriend announced his death on Monday, and she just wrote that he left this earth and has finally found his free. Cause of death, mysterious, and she's telling people to stop speculating. Okay. The day after his death, on August 5th, Perez Hilton was live streaming himself on TikTok, and he started cutting himself. He was harming himself. Around 4,000 people are watching at the time. Police were called there. His family confirmed he was alone. He was hospitalized, stabilized. Okay. And I kind of want to give you some context because I put some stuff together. You're like, why are you talking about Joe and Perez? It's just weird to me. First of all, I think Perez, I'll talk about that in a second. There was also a video in between this little moment with Perez. Ariana Grande released an album. And the music video is her just saturated with imagery that, people can recognize immediately. It's blood, staged imagery, symbolism that makes you uncomfortable if you know what you're looking at. Okay. Perez posted about the Grande video. Then he posted about Joe Felz's death. And a few hours later, he's bleeding on camera in front of thousands of people. And this is the part where I'm happy to put the tinfoil hat on because I'm just asking questions. I'm not calling anything confirmed, but because I'd rather ask out loud than be a useful idiot and pretend I don't notice things. I did a little digging. Perez Hilton had been through the worst health year of his life before all of this. Sepsis so severe, he was hospitalized for 21 days. He had a blood clot that required emergency surgery. After the blood clot, he publicly thanked God. He said he'd had a life-changing experience. This is when he came on my radar. He said he'd read the Bible. He said it was miraculous that he survived. So he came on my radar. I'm like, wow, that's amazing because I know I avoid Hollywood stuff like the plague. Actually, I'm getting pulled into it slowly, slowly with the stuff that people send me to talk about. But I really do avoid it like crazy. So if that's genuine, like if he really found Christ, then what happened in August 5th was definitely a spiritual battle of the most intense kind. And that shit really does happen. That's how it works. You don't give your life to Christ and then have the, enemy just shrug and walk away. He's like, "Oh, I give up." You give your life to Christ and the devil comes hard. And it's not because God isn't there. It's because the enemy's furious and he knows his time is like shrinking. If it was genuine, of course I'm going to pray for Perez Hilton. And I mean that without reservation. But if it wasn't, and this is where my mind is, I'm like, great, another show. I've told you guys millions of times, if they're on TV, it's all scripted. These people are famous, it's all scripted. I do not think Joe Felz was scripted. I do not. He was making the government mad. I saw the videos of black helicopters stalking him all the time. If this was a performance, if this was the machine doing what the machine does with people who have reached a certain level of success, I'm exhausted of that. And I'm going to give that to God too, because I don't have the bandwidth to be angry about the things that I cannot change. But what I know for certain is that Joe is gone. And the people who watched his live streams and his content and knew him have questions that are probably never going to get answered. He's the kind of person that would remind you all the time, I am of sound health and mind. I am healthy. I want to live. I will not kill myself. Those are all his words. In fact, the live where he did a whole video just about the fact if something happens to me, I did not kill myself, it's gone. I think his girlfriend, I guess, who's running his account now is deleting things. The website where he's uploading these ancient Bibles, it's disappearing. They're pulling it. This is a resource for people who wanted to go back to primary source scripture. That's what I was there for. Just to compare that to the concordance I have and the old Bible that I have. But draw your own conclusions about the timing. Okay, you can watch his videos. There's still quite a few that are up where you can see the helicopters because he also was all about free source energy. And he was helping people in Costa Rica with this energy. And you guys know how the government is about things that mess with their paycheck. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, ask the questions. And if you have answers, share them with me too, because I don't really have any clear answer here. Michigan elections. Let's talk about the hostile takeover that's happening in slow motion while people are arguing about what? Like, what are you guys arguing about in Michigan right now? I voted in the midterms here in Michigan. I am very happy that my guy won. But I showed up and I'm looking around the room. Very clear liberal women everywhere. And I really thought to myself, this is how it keeps happening. This is how an outsider candidate loses to the machine because the people who complain about the results don't show up for the votes. They don't. Like, you're going to cry about your gas, but you're not going to show up at the election. Michigan has a real chance to flip red in the November elections. I am telling you, this is like the realest chance we will ever have. The Senate race here is critical. The governor's race is the real deal. The people being elected at the state level have a direct impact on your daily life in this state in a way that the president doesn't. So if you're going to vote, it needs to be in these elections, not the presidential ones. It is this. Literally, gas is a whole dollar cheaper in Indiana right now. We went across the border for a sweet treat yesterday. $1 cheaper. That is not a presidential issue. That is a blue state issue. That is a policy of the people your Michigan neighbors voted into office at the state level. Those are the votes that change your gas pump or our car insurance. You know, we pay the highest insurance in the nation. It's frustrating. But I want to talk about the Muslim Brotherhood presence in Michigan because this is not a discussion that makes people comfortable, and I don't care. Michigan has the largest Muslim population in the United States. The Dearborn area does not look like the United States. It is a demographic reality that has shifted the political dynamics of the state. And what I'm watching is not the peaceful integration of people who love America and who are contributing to it. What I'm watching looks like a hostile takeover. It looks like elected officials in the state who have zero interest in assimilation, zero interest in American constitutional principles, and who are actively working to reshape the political culture of this state towards something that does not belong in it. Sharia law and the United States Constitution are not compatible. They cannot coexist. They are built on fundamentally different premises about the source of authority, the rights of women, the rights of non-believers, the role of the state in religious practice, and the nature of justice. You don't get to practice Sharia law inside a country that was founded on a different set of entirely contradictory principles and call it diversity. That is a collision. That's a collision. And the people voting for it are liberal women who are all about gay rights. You know you will die under Sharia law for that. They're about trans rights. You know you're going to die in Sharia law for that. You want women freedom? You're going to have to be covered head to toe or you get stoned. That's crazy to me. It's like you guys don't see other parts of the world. Go to a place where Sharia law is in action. And these are people that say death to America. The guy that got elected in Michigan, his best little buddy, thinks we deserve 9/11. Really. Death to America. That's what we're bringing here. This is crazy to me. And the people that are virtue signaling the most are the people that will die first. It is mind-blowing to me. The Bible speaks about borders. It speaks about the one law for the native and the stranger that Israel maintained. It speaks about the nations God established with specific borders for specific purposes. Acts 17:26, from one man he made all the nations that they should inhabit the whole earth, and he marked out their appointed times in history and the boundaries of their lands. Boundaries of their lands. God drew them. People who want to erase them are not working with God, they're working against him. Come here legally. Assimilate, learn the language, respect the legal structure, contribute to the country. That's it. What did Somalia show us? They're going to scam us until there's nothing left for the American people. That's it. That's all we're asking. And if your ideology says that you can't do those things without compromising your faith, then I would say your faith has a problem with America, not the other way around. If your country and your beliefs and your religion is so great, why aren't you staying in your country? Newsflash, Muhammad's in hell. Christ lives forever. I say that not to be inflammatory. I say it because as a Christian, that is the truth. There's no point in softening it for the people who want me to treat every religion as equally true when it doesn't. The Bible doesn't even teach that. Don't be a useful idiot. Know what you're voting for. And you guys better show up in November like your life depends on it, because at the state level, it genuinely does. You know, I got to talk about Fauci. 8-7. That's how the vote went, y'all. 8-7 to hold Anthony Fauci in contempt. I'm just wondering how there are 7 people that I can't. I don't even have the words. I have them. I don't think I'll give you the slew of everything I'm thinking. So the law says he could spend up to a year in jail for contempt, which we know isn't going to happen, right? I feel like I can almost say that as a true statement. You can fact check me. I will gladly apologize if I'm wrong about that. We know that a man with his connections and his legal team and his decades inside the institutional machine is not going to spend meaningful time behind bars for this, especially because it's the guys behind him that are just as guilty. The evil elite puppets pulling the strings. I know that. You know that. And the frustration of knowing it is something, another thing, like I actively have to give this to God because I feel like when I sit with it, it just eats me alive. Because I'm human too. As much as I talk my husband off the cliff all the time, where I'm like, hey, we justice will come. I'm human, and sometimes I too get pissed about the timing. Sometimes I too am just like, why can't we see this justice in real time? Here's what I want to say about everything that's come through his diaries and the documents and the testimony. What happened during the COVID pandemic was crimes against humanity. What happened to the people who died alone in hospital rooms because of policies that Fauci championed while the evidence contradicted him? What happened to the children who were masked and isolated and developmentally damaged during critical developmental years? What happened to the small businesses and the careers and the relationships and the millions of Americans who were told to comply or be excluded from society? That is not a policy disagreement. That's a body count. I have a really great friend he murdered, and I'm never going to let that go. Fauci has blood on his hands, an amount of blood that I don't think we finished counting yet. He makes Hitler look like a saint. Yes, I want the death penalty discussed for him. The crime fits the consequence. There's a precedent being set right now about whether the people who wield institutional power over the health and freedom of millions of Americans face any real accountability at all, or whether the accountability is always just beyond reach. Just procedurally blocked enough, just one more legal hurdle away from actually landing. Burn in hell, sir. With all due respect to the God who knows your heart better than I do. And this is the truth I had to preach to myself, you guys. Like today was a show where I had to talk myself down. The frustration I feel when I can't see justice is a sign that I'm holding more than I'm supposed to hold. It's a sign that I'm not giving enough of what I'm absorbing to God. We are not designed to carry the weight of all this at full capacity. And that's not weakness. That is the design. God's justice is coming. It will be swift. It will be perfect. It doesn't mean it's like on our human time clock. It's going to make every proceeding that humans put together look like kindergarten court. I trust that. And I'm learning to practice that more. I'm trying to practice trusting it more, even on the days it doesn't feel like enough. I do have some good news though. Good news today. Genuinely good news. There's no asterisk. There's no like hidden read between the lines kind of label. The FBI's Operation Blackout dismantled 4 of the largest foreign scam compounds operating against Americans. They seized over $15 billion, saved at least 10,000 Americans from having their savings stolen, shut down over 8,000 internet terminals being used to run operations against American citizens. 10,000 Americans who still have their money because someone did the work. That matters. And we have been scammed, you guys. So that made me feel like maybe we didn't get our personal justice, but to know that some people saved, I think that's a huge win. I think it's a huge win. And I feel like, something funny for you guys. If you've seen this video, I think it's hilarious. Hawaii Democrat was at an event. Someone asked him to turn his music down. You guys know what I'm talking about? He responded by swinging a chair and he got knocked the hell out. Okay, this is the party of peace. This is the party of tolerance, compassion, inclusive. In a room where nobody else was being aggressive. They literally just actually turned down your music. It's a situation that required exactly one thing, which was just turn the music down. He escalated it. He swung a chair, and then he found out what happens. The liberal, cancerous mindset in practice. Screaming tantrums, no personal responsibility, absolute inability to respond to a reasonable request without becoming the aggressor. And then the audacity to wonder why they lose credibility with people who are paying attention. If there is any message threading through everything I've talked about today, it's this. Take massive responsibility for where you are and where you're going. Stop blaming everyone around you. If you don't like something about your life, you get to change it. The power's yours. Nobody took that from you. But you can't access it while you're standing in the middle of the room with a chair in your hand screaming about how everything is just so unfair. And I just because I have to. I feel it inside my chest. It is a fire. It is a fire. And I'm going to say this again. And maybe, I don't know how many times you guys are going to listen to this, but I need this moment. The Black Lives Matter movement, the manufactured racism, done. It's a financial product. It is an outrage machine that requires a very specific input to produce a very specific output that generates this revenue that funds the lifestyle of the very same people running it. The input is a Black Death where the perpetrator is white. The output is the outrage. The revenue is the donations, the speaking fees, the book deals, the nonprofit salaries, the fundraising that rolls in every time the right combination of circumstances exist. What does not produce revenue? Black on black crime. Nothing. There is no white face to attach the narrative to. There is no outrage product to sell. There's no way to monetize the South Side of Chicago. So the South Side of Chicago doesn't exist to Black Lives Matter. 20 homicides in 10 days. 6% increase in Chicago's annual body count. Not $1 donated through BLM to families on the South Side. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it. And white people need to hear this too. Stop being afraid to be proud of who you are. Stop letting people make you feel like the color of your skin makes you responsible for shit that happened before you were born. Take responsibility for your own life. Nobody owes you anything, and you don't owe anyone a performance of guilt for circumstances you didn't create. You make us all look stupid. The people telling you you do, they're running a con. They need your guilt to sustain their product. The moment you stop feeling guilty, they lose their leverage. Take responsibility for yourself. Show up for yourself. Be proud of who you are and where you came from. And stop letting the people who have the biggest platform for the biggest mouths and the biggest tantrums shape your self-image. We are all useful idiots to the machine if we let ourselves be divided by race while the people running the machine cash the checks. Black people, white people, all of us, useful idiots. It doesn't matter. The only way out of that is to stop falling for it. Stop falling for it. Aren't you exhausted? Are you exhausted? Have you really looked into what it means for Black Lives Matter to support something? Because they don't matter to them. What matters is your money. And if they can't monetize, babe, they don't care. They don't care. 2 Kings chapter 6. The king of Syria was at war with Israel, and every time the Syrian army tried to move against Israel, the prophet Elisha knew. He knew which roads they were taking. He knew which positions they were setting up. He told the king of Israel, and Israel avoided them every time. Over and over. The Syrian king assumed there was a spy among his own officers. One of his men told him, "It's not us, it's the prophet Elisha in Israel. He tells the king of Israel your words, even the words you speak in private." So the Syrian king sent a great army to capture Elisha, horses and chariots, a huge force, and they surround the city where Elisha was. In the morning, Elisha's servant got up early and went outside and saw it. The army surrounding the city, the horses, the chariots everywhere. He went to Elisha and said, "Oh no, my lord, what shall we do?" And Elisha's like, "Don't be afraid. Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." So the servant is looking at the Syrian army. He's looking at overwhelming force completely surrounding the city. He has counted. He knows the numbers, and Elisha says, "Those who are with us are more." And then Elisha prayed. And this is the prayer, the simple, very direct, two-sentence prayer. "Lord, open his eyes so he may see." And the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked. And there on the hills surrounding the city was an army of horses and chariots of fire, surrounding Elisha, surrounding the city, surrounding the Syrian army that thought it had everything surrounded. Then Elisha prayed that the Syrian army would be struck blind. And they were. And Elisha walked right up to them and said, "This is not the road, and this is not the city you want. Follow me, and I'll take you to the man you're looking for." And he led them directly to the capital city of Israel. The king of Israel saw them arrive and asked Elisha, "Shall I kill them? You want me to kill them?" And Elisha said, "No, feed them. Give them food and water, and then send them home to their master." So the king prepared a great feast for them. They ate, they drank, they were sent home. And it says, "And the Syrians did not come again on raids into the land of Israel." I just want to speak to wherever you are right now. If you are standing in this moment feeling surrounded, if you have counted the army outside the city and the numbers look bad and the options look limited and the machine feels like it has everything covered, I want you to hear Elisha. Do not be afraid. Those who are with us are more than those who are with them. The army you can't see is the larger army. The horses and the chariots of fire and the hills, that's real. It's always been real. You're not in this alone, and you've never been in this alone. And the spiritual reality of this moment is not captured in a capable news panel or a social media follower count or an election result. And the prayer, Lord, open his eyes so he may see. That is my prayer for this country, for the people listening to this show today who are still asleep, for the people who are watching the machine and believe that what the machine shows them is all that exists and it is the one truth. I'm praying open their eyes. Let them see what's exactly on the hills. Let them understand that the battle they're watching on the surface is not the whole battle. The government wants a civil war. I believe that. I believe the manufactured division, the race baiting, the culture war, the exhaustion, and the anger, and the sense that everything is a fight is designed to produce a specific outcome. A people at each other's throats cannot effectively look up at the people running them. A people who are too busy fighting each other can't organize around the stuff that actually matters. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to do what Elisha did. We're going to pray that eyes open. We're going to speak the truth regardless of the cost. You're going to show up in November and we're going to vote at the state level like our daily lives depend on it, because they do. We're going to stop performing our outrage for the algorithm and start making actual changes in the rooms where actual decisions are made. And we're going to stop being afraid. And we're going to stop being discouraged. And we're going to stop being overwhelmed, because those who are with us are more than those who are with them. If you have never given your life to Jesus Christ, that is the foundation of everything I just said. The army on the hills, the prayer that opens eyes, the peace that doesn't make sense given the number of Syrians outside the gate. None of it is available without him. I don't know why I always get choked up talking to you guys at the end of the show. I love you. I love you, and I want you to see that he's there, and he's not just a coping mechanism. He is the reason I can have the show and not go lose my mind. He is the truth that the entire architecture of what I believe is built on. And he's available to you right now with everything exactly as messy as it is. Come to him. Ask him to come into your heart. God, faith, fire, country, always. I will see you guys on the next episode.